Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to iGyaan. Today we're going to be checking out the new Xiaomi Redmi Note 9 Pro. And we're going to be telling you whether or not it's going to be worth your money. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. So we start with the exterior of the phone. Now all of you have probably already seen the design of the Redmi Note 9 Pro, and it's an interesting design. I'm not too fond of the camera bump at the back, but the front looks really nice. It's almost edge to edge. You do have a bottom chin, but it doesn't bother you too much. Using this phone is also fairly easy one-handed, and operation-wise, it's really nice and convenient with respect to the form factor. Edges are rounded off, and it feels good in the hand. You do have a front-facing camera that's punched into the center of the screen. Now, this is an ideal location to put a front-facing camera. The chin should disappear now eventually. Hopefully with Redmi Note 10 Pro, we'll have a more bezel-less design on Xiaomi Redmi devices. So on the back, you do have Gorilla Glass 5, so that is protected. The front also has Gorilla Glass 5, that is protected. The bezel itself, even though it looks extremely close to metal, is actually plastic. I know because I tested that with a knife. So you do have a plastic frame, and not the most robust, but it is actually more shock absorbent, and it will also prevent the glass from getting cracked. So in a way, it's a good thing. It's not the most premium of materials. A metal frame would have been nice. Redmi did start off with metal devices, but they've now come to plastic and glass. So that is something that you guys need to be aware of. Now, personally, I love the placement of the fingerprint sensor on the right of the phone where the power button is. So you can unlock the phone with both your hands. So if you're using it right-handed, you can unlock it with your thumb. If you're using it left-handed, you can unlock it with your index finger. Very convenient location. Also, it sort of reduces a secondary step, and it is one of the fastest fingerprint sensors that you can get. So it quickly unlocks. It's secure. It works well. It's better than Face Unlock for Android, especially because then you can use it at night as well and unlock your phone without really struggling to find out where some light is going to come from to unlock your face. So all in all, a really good option to have that. You still get Face Unlock, but then in low light environments, it's not the most comfortable or the easiest to use. Now, specs-wise, a lot of people are quite disappointed with the fact that the phone has a 720G chipset. Personally, I found that the 720G is pretty good, and even while playing games like PUBG at high graphics, which it picks by default, the phone performs really well. There's not a lot of heat being pushed out of the phone either. So all in all, the 720G seems to be a really balanced chipset. Also, everyday task, multitasking, switching between applications seems to be fast and really well managed with the device. It's not going to give you as much performance as, say, a Poco X2, which does have the 730G chipset, but the 720G holds its own ground. And here are some benchmark results between both of these phones. So also the phone has LPDDR4X RAM and a UFS 2.1 storage. So you get 4GB of RAM with 64GB of storage, or you can get the 6GB of RAM with 128GB of storage. You can pop in a micro SD card separately, so you can also get additional storage if that's what you need. 6GB is ideal for modern day Android devices, so you won't really need more RAM than that. If you're looking for a more higher spec device, there's also the Redmi Note 9 Pro Max, which we'll be testing out a little while later. Now, operating system wise, you get Android 10 out of the box, but you do get MIUI. There's a love-hate relationship with MIUI. A lot of people like it. Some people completely dislike it. I personally don't mind it now that it's become slightly more customizable. In our usage, we didn't really find any advertisements, which is strange, but advertisements do turn up on MIUI devices, and it's just their earning strategy is how they're able to price these phones so low. So you can't really get rid of ads unless you install like an ad blocker or something on the phone, which you can if the ads really do bother you. But since we've been using this phone, we haven't really seen ads. We did disable the ads option from the startup menu, and we really haven't seen any ads. So once you guys do get your devices, do let us know if you are also not seeing ads, and if Xiaomi's strategy has changed, then that would be an interesting thing to know as well. Now, this phone has a 5020 mAh battery and comes with an 18-watt charger inside the box, which is brilliant from a positioning point of view. Xiaomi usually would sell a charger separately, but now an 18-watt charger is included, which means that for battery life usage, most of your charging needs can be taken care of with the charger that comes in the box. And with a 5000 mAh battery, you can now go on for the entire day at least, if not more, depending on what kind of usage you have. For some people, it'll be a couple of days. For some other people, it'll be just about a full day of use. So totally depending on your kind of usage, and this phone will satisfy mostly all sorts of battery usage needs. Now the front of the phone has a 6.67-inch full HD plus display. Now this is an IPS display. Really good colors on this, a good amount of brightness as well. Really good viewing angles on this display. It's a 20:9 aspect ratio with a 2400 by 1080 pixel resolution. This display will satisfy mostly all your requirements. It is a unusual aspect ratio and not a lot of content is available in this aspect ratio. But if you do watch widescreen content, you will be able to watch it with a little bit of black bars on this without any problem. From a content consumption perspective, the display is excellent. It's also extremely responsive. So if you want to play games that do require quick response times, the display will satisfy your needs for that as well. As far as the audio is concerned, if you're watching movies on the display, you would want some really good audio. So you do have only a single bottom firing speaker, but you can also attach a standard headphone because there is a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is something that is really nice and almost a rarity nowadays. The phone also has Bluetooth 5.0, so if you're also interested in using a good pair of wireless headphones, you'll be able to do that and then not face any kind of lag or latency in your audio when you're using this device. From a usability perspective, the phone seems to be really fast, responsive, and really usable. It's very well ergonomically built. It's got a good display, good audio from the main audio output, and also good viewing angles and good performance thanks to the hardware that's inside. Now, the cameras are something that has become one of the biggest selling factors for most smartphones, and especially in the price bracket of under 20,000 rupees, you are always constantly looking at cameras, whether it's the selfie camera or the main cameras. Now, a combination of 4 cameras on the back of the phone means that you do have lots of options, provided that there is one dedicated depth sensor. So it's only essentially 3 main cameras, one of which is a 5-megapixel macro sensor. Now, macro shots are something that is becoming really popular nowadays. So if you're into the macro scene, this camera does offer up a really good macro sensor, and you can get some really good close-up shots of objects and then just have fun creatively with those. The image results from the main camera are really surprisingly good. Now, we tested most of it out with the AI mode enabled or in auto, and we got some really impressive results for images from the main camera, which is a 48 megapixel sensor. So the main sensor also has an f1.79 aperture, and it's got super stabilization and phase detect autofocus. Images turned out really nice and sharp. Saturation is on point, and the colors are just everything that was captured in the images, including shades of the sun and the way the colors of the leaves and the flowers in some of our pictures pop also show the fact that the camera can do really good justice to natural looking shots and just enhance the colors and give you a slightly more sort of saturated look. Again, you can also shoot in Pro mode and customize everything that you want. There's also a Pro video mode now, so you can shoot 4K video, but there's also a Pro video mode that allows you to not only map your focus peaking, but you can also see exposure peaking. So you can get a really good control over your video, and focus peaking is something that even some modern day cameras don't have. So getting that in a smartphone is really interesting, and that to a smartphone at this level. Nothing flagship like, but almost at the 10 to 15,000 rupee price bracket. If you're getting focus peaking, you can really up your video game with this device, especially if you understand how to manually control video settings. The front camera is also really good. You can take 16 megapixel shots from the front facing camera. You also have a lot of customizations within the Xiaomi app, which allows you to really experiment with the image and get some filters going on. There's also an interesting portrait mode. They also keep adding new portrait modes. So they did do a holy portrait mode where you could click a picture and then add a holy filter on there. So Xiaomi and Redmi do keep experimenting with those kind of things, so you can get quick updates into this app and get additional filters from them depending on if it's a festival or if something else is happening. So that feature is really good, and for people who like taking selfies and sharing them online, this is a really good package for that. Now, there are several things that make a person want to buy a phone. Of course, there are so many phones in the market right now that it becomes extremely confusing on to what phone to pick. The Redmi Note 9 Pro is an excellent competitor in this market because it may not win on certain things, like it may not have the most powerful processor, or it may not have the largest battery life, it may not have the fastest charging, and it may not have an AMOLED display. But it does win on certain things as well. It's a really, really well-balanced phone that offers a really good performance. It manages to deliver a good mix of software with hardware. Once you do get into the MIUI scheme of things, there are ways that you can really use this phone and get the best out of it. So with that aspect, the Redmi Note 9 Pro is sort of a complete phone. You also get AP2i coating, so it's splash resistant, and it's fairly well built with Gorilla Glass 5 on the front as well as on the back. I would have liked to see more metal on this phone, but that's something that is probably kept for a future generation device and will improve the build quality and the premium feel of the phone. But right now we are stuck with plastic. So if you're in the market for a new smartphone, the Redmi Note 9 Pro is a good competitor. Of course, there are other phones in the market, but this one seems to have a really overall good balance and a good performance to price aspect of this device, along with the MIUI and the usage experience deliver a really good product overall. So the Redmi Note 9 Pro continues to be one of the top competitors in this price bracket. That's it for our review, guys. If you liked it, don't forget to smash the like button and let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not already a part of Team iGyaan. This has been Bharat. I'll see you guys in the next one.